Hey guys, after my last training guide video, I realized that what's the point of making a training guide if you can't figure out what class to play in the first place? Many people, including myself, don't spend much money on Maplestory, so I wanted to figure out, which class are the best for free-to-play Maplers. In this video, I'm going to be going over my top 10 best unfunded classes. Just to let you guys know, this is my personal opinion, and people may have different tastes based on their playstyle. As of this recording, I currently have 14 level 200s, and so I feel that my experience should be sufficient. This list is based on damage, sustainability, mobbing, mobility, and party play. Bubbling into number 10, we have Angelic Buster. Now, Angelic Buster has great damage and mobbing, and most of her skills become 100% recharge chance. Her DPS is decent. With a high crit rate and damage, she actually has an 80% knockback resistance with Iron Blossom. She also has great mobility with a free vertical grapple. However, she doesn't have many lines of damage. She also needs to rely on +1 attack speed for her inner ability. Soaring into number 9 is Kaiser. Now, Kaiser is really good for bossing, especially with Gigas Wave. He gets more crit rate with Final Form after 4th job. You get around 40% more crit rate and 15% more final damage. Self-recovery is great for sustainability. Once again, Kaiser has great mobility with a free grapple. Kaiser also has pretty decent party play with Grand Armor that reduces damage to the party by 10%. The cons for Kaiser is his morph gauge. For Final Form, you need to charge it up all the way until you can use it. However, if you hit level 200, his hyper skill lets you use it instantly. His mobbing is quite subpar because Blade Burst doesn't have that great of a range. He also has a low critical rate, and he may need to rely on the Phantom Sling skill or Legion. Also, in Final Form, there's an increased player hitbox, so that means that you will be more susceptible to being killed in boss fights. At number 8 is Kadena. Now, Kadena has great damage and great mobility with all her skills combined. She also has a very high crit rate. She constantly needs to use all her skills from all her jobs. The only reason that she needs to use her skills from previous jobs is to uphold the muscle memory buff, so good luck trying to find space on your keyboard for all the skills. Flying into number 7 is Ilium. Now, Ilium does have good mobbing and damage. He can fly, and his main attacking skills are learned early in the jobs. He can even be invincible for 10 seconds, and he can share that to his party members too. But his main attacking skills may give carpal tunnel syndrome, which is terrible. His ball placement may make training awkward at times, and he has low defense, so you may need to bring some potions along. Upholding 10 stacks of Lucent Brand will give you % defense, but it's difficult to uphold. So throughout all stages of his gameplay, he's actually very squishy. Sniping the number 6 spot is Zenon. Zenon is basically spin to win, has great bossing and mobbing, can use thief and pirate gear, the damage is inflated, you have a toggleable shadow partner, you have high crit rate, multilateral is amazing, and you have party play, with temporal pod which reduces cooldown for party members. Zenon may be a little bit mana hungry, but that can obviously be solved with a junior boogie. Switching skills may take some time to get used to, especially with snipe. You need to change that between when you're mobbing and when you're bossing. Zenon may be a little bit hard to gain a little bit of damage because of the 3 main stats, but because damage is inflated, it kind of evens out. Slashing into number 5 is my personal favorite, the Duel Blader. Duel Bladers have great mobbing ability and great mobility, especially when you link Blade Ascension, Flying Assaulter, into Bloody Storm and Tornado Spin. Duel Bladers have great bossing ability with very fast attack speed, and it's easy to hit the soft and hard cap. With just decent speed infusion and Monster Park Green Potion, you already hit the speed cap. Duel Bladers also have an innate lifesteal, they have 100% crit rate with Shadow Meld, and they have 90% knockback resistance with Thorns. The class does need a bind for bossing, so I suggest getting Urda Nova. Duel Bladers also have relatively low crit damage, but that can be solved with Link skills and Legion. There's 2 suggested inner abilities for Duel Bladers. Number 1 is to get 50% buff duration. That way, Final Cut becomes permanent. Number 2 would be to get boss damage in the first slot. That way you can deal more damage to bosses. And your third line should be buff duration. Duel Bladers also have no party play skills. This is a completely solo class. Gliding into number 4 is Demon Slayer. Now, Demon Slayers are very sustainable. They get a free heal from Dravenstorm, and they get 100% knockback resistance. They have good mobbing, especially with generally low cooldowns. They also get Blue Blood, which is basically Shadow Partner. They have 100% crit rate with Demon Impact, they're quite mobile, and they get a Bind. Their Demon Fury can also be increased through hyperstats. At this point, I don't really see any cons for Demon Slayer, except for party play skills, and maybe a little bit of issues managing Demon Fury. Teleporting into number 3 is Battle Mage. Battle Mages have great sustainability with 100% knockback resistance. They have a toggleable lifesteal, attack speed, and damage, which come in the form of auras. Their mobbing really comes from their Condemn, Dark Genesis, and Sweeping Staff. They have very high HP pool, which pretty much rivals any warrior class. They have good crit rate and damage, they're easy to play, and they have good range on some abilities. Battle Mages do have party play with a skill called Party Shield. It basically reduces 10% damage when hit with an attack that inflicts damage of a certain proportion of your maximum HP. Although auras make Battle Mages a little bit mana hungry, it can easily be solved once again with a Junior Boogie Familiar. Your main attacking skill is on the shorter side of the spectrum, unfortunately, so this means that you might have to stand a little bit closer to bosses or even get a little bit closer to the mobs. In terms of bossing, there's a lot of micromanaging that is required for Battle Mages. You need to know how to telecast, you need to know how to swap your auras, you need to know how to output the most DPS in the shortest manner of time. Flashing in at the number 2 spot is Luminous. Luminous has great mobbing ability and bossing ability, especially with Ender, which gives 100% crit rate. She's also a very strong magician class with great multipliers on her skills. She has a free heal with Ray of Redemption, she's easy to play, and she has a bind with Armageddon. Although 1st to 3rd job is a little bit slow, 4th job is where everything gets fun. Her bossing power really comes when Equilibrium comes into play. It can also be compensated with her hyper skill Equalize. Now, before we reveal the number 1 unfunded class to play, here are some honorable mentions. Demon Avenger is extremely sustainable. You have a free heal with Exceed, you have decent mobbing, you get 100% knockback resistance, and you also get a 20-second bind every 2 minutes. However, Demon Avengers are pretty lackluster when it comes to DPS, their mobbing skills don't hit many lines, and it's one skill for mobbing and bossing. And not to mention, their 5th job is probably the worst in the game. The next honorable mention is Paladin. Now, Paladins have basically decent everything. They have party play, they have mobbing, they have bossing, they can heal, they can negate damage. It's basically a very good starter character for players who don't have much experience with the game. Paladins may come a little bit stale for more experienced players. So the next honorable mention will be Shade. Although Shade isn't very popular, they do have 100% knockback resistance, they have an innate lifesteal, and they have a bind, but that has a long cooldown. They have pretty decent defense, they have decent crit rate, and they're actually pretty good in mobbing. So, coming in at number 1, we have the Combo Master, Aran. Arans have a toggleable lifesteal that is learned at 2nd job, they have 100% knockback resistance, and they have decent multipliers on their skills. There's not much cooldowns on their skills too. Their mobbing is excellent, their mobility is great because they have a flash jump and they have a vertical jump, and definitely Link Seal is a must. Be prepared to get Carpal Tunnel Syndrome because their combos are annoying. They're also a little bit mana hungry, but that can be solved with a Junior Boogie Familiar, and being familiar with their most efficient DPS combos can be quite a struggle.